Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jyotirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 29, verse 76 and 77. If anyone would like to recite the verse, you can raise your hand, please. Ayushi Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Yatha trina jalun kiyam na apayati cha na tyajin niyamano api pragde abhimatim jana yavadanyam na vindet vivadhanen karmanam mana eva manusyendra bhutanam bhava bhavanam. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yatha as Trin Jaluka caterpillar. Iyam this na apayati does not go. Apayati goes. Cha also. Na not. Tyajet gives up. Mriya manah at the point of death. Api even. Prak former. Deha with the body. Abhimatim identification. Janaha a person. Yavat so long as. Anyam another. Na not. Vindeta obtains. Vyavadhanena by the termination. Karmanam of fruitive activities. Manaha the mind. Eva certainly. Manushya Indriya a ruler of men. Bhutanam of all living entities. Bhava of material existence. Bhavanam the cause. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Shabbat ki jai. The caterpillar transports itself from one leaf to another by capturing one leaf before giving up the other. Similarly, according to his previous work, the living entity must capture another body before giving up the one he has. This is because the mind is a reservoir of all kinds of desires. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Shabbat ki jai. A living entity too much absorbed in material activity becomes very much attracted to the material body. Even at the point of death, he thinks of his present body and the relatives connected to it. Thus, he remains fully absorbed in the bodily conception of life, so much so that even at the point of death, he abhors leaving his present body. Sometimes it is found that a person on the verge of death remains in a coma for many days before giving up the body. This is common among so-called leaders and politicians who think that without their presence, the entire country and all society will be in chaos. This is called Maya. Political leaders do not like to leave their political posts, and they either have to be shot by an enemy or obliged to leave by the arrival of death. By superior arrangement, a living entity is offered another body, but because of his attraction to the present body, he does not like to transfer himself to another body. Thus, he is forced to accept another body by the laws of nature. Prakarte kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudhatma karta ahamiti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, verse 27. Material nature is very strong, and the material modes force one to accept another body. This force is visible when the living entity transmigrates from a superior body to an inferior body. One who acts like a dog or hog in the present body will certainly be forced to accept the body of a dog or hog in the next life. A person may be enjoying the body of a prime minister or a president, but when he understands that he will be forced to accept the body of a dog or hog, he chooses not to leave the present body. Therefore, he lies in a coma many days before death. This has been experienced by many politicians at the time of death. The conclusion is that the next body is already determined by superior control. The living entity immediately gives up the present body and enters another. Similarly, in the present body, the living entity feels that many of his desires and imaginations are not fulfilled. Those who are overly attracted to their life situation are forced to remain in a ghostly body and not allowed to accept another gross body. Even in the body of a ghost, they create disturbances for neighbors and relatives. The mind is the prime cause of such a situation. According to one's mind, different types of bodies are generated, and one is forced to accept them. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 6. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajate ante kalevaram tam tameveti kanteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Within one's body and mind, one can think as either a dog or a god, and the next life is offered to him accordingly. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 22. Purusha prakrtistho hi bhunte pratijan gunan karinam gunasangasya sadasatyo nijanmashu. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. The living entity may transmigrate to either a superior or inferior body according to his association with the modes of material nature. If he associates with the mode of ignorance, he gets a body of an animal or an inferior man. But if he associates with the mode of goodness or passion, he gets a body accordingly. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse 18. Urdhvam gachanti satvastha, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganya gunavrittistha, adho gachanti tamasaha. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. The root cause of one's association is the mind. This great Krishna consciousness movement is the greatest boon to human society because it is teaching everyone to think always of Krishna by executing devotional service. In this way, at the end of life, one may be transferred to the association of Krishna. This is technically called Nitya Leela Pravishta, entering into the planet Goloka Vrindavan. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 55 explains, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yashashmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. After the mind is completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, one can enter the planet known as Goloka Vrindavan. To enter the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to understand Krishna. The process of understanding Krishna is devotional service. After understanding Krishna as he is, one becomes eligible. One can become eligible to enter Krishna Lok and associate with him. The mind is the cause of such an exalted position. The mind can also get one a body like those of dogs and hogs. To absorb the mind always in Krishna consciousness is therefore the greatest perfection of human life. I feel like Prabhupada has already given us the class here. So nice. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjansalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastite Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishbhanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paschatya Deshatarine. The caterpillar transports itself from one leaf to another by capturing one leaf before giving up the other. Similarly, according to his previous work, the living entity must capture another body before giving up the one he has. This is because the mind is the reservoir of all kinds of desires. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, which is Creation of the Fourth Order, chapter number 29, which is entitled as, what is the title of the chapter? Talks between
Narada and
Narada
King
and
Parikshit.
Yes, very nice. Thank you. And now Narad Muni is talking about the intricacies of transmigration of the soul from one body to another body with the help of one's subtle body. The soul is covered by the subtle body, and in the subtle body, yes, there is mind, there is intelligence, there is false ego, but of all the things, mind is most prominent, because mind is, we read this in 15th chapter also. I showed you the verse that depending on the situation of the mind, each living entity gets a gross body. So basically mind is the programming center on the basis of which the gross body is programmed and actually manifested with the help of the material nature under the supervision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna, Prabhupada has said at least 3 times in this purport, mind is the cause, mind is the cause, mind is the cause. Prabhupada has spent, I would say, 3/4 of the purport explaining to us that how my own mind is responsible for bringing me to a situation in material world where I am right now. Actually, it saves us a lot of energy. Now, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. Somebody is having some issues in life. Everybody is having some issues in life all the time. But somebody is facing some reversal, and the approach is like, because of this particular person, because of this particular situation, because of this, because if this person wouldn't have done this, or if they haven't said this, or if my family was like this, if like this. So there's like, this multiplication going on, ifs and buts and ifs and buts. Then now just try to, just try to situate yourself in that energy that one person is thinking that they are in this reversal situation of life because of this or that or this or that. And the other person who is trying to become Krishna conscious is gathering the whole situation around them and saying, I have this reversal. I'm not going to deny it. It's there. It's very real. It is causing me some disturbance and ripples in my material existence, grossly and subtly. But I still believe that nothing is out of the hands of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is still the controller. Krishna still has the control of everything. So let me gather myself. Let me see where am I doing what I can change. And let me go to Krishna and pray. Which one sounds more beneficial in your heart? Be honest. You can even write to me in the chat. Finding a problem in something else, someone else outside of us, or gathering ourselves from wherever the mind is going, bringing it inward and saying that, let me see that where am I, what am I doing here? Where is my mind taking me? Let me see if I can still enhance my faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not forget that Krishna still is in complete control. Which one is more sticking to your heart? Or if you don't want to answer me, you don't have to answer me, but to think it in your heart, or best thing is write it with a pen and paper. Situation 1 or situation 2. Because if you are going to go to the route of Krishna consciousness, then the Krishna consciousness is teaching us situation 2. Okay? Krishna consciousness is
Mataji.
okay, thank you. The Krishna consciousness is teaching, Prabhupada is saying here, all the Shastras are saying that the problem is in my own mind. That doesn't mean that we are becoming a self-critic and becoming, flagellating ourselves. No, that doesn't mean that. It just means that recognizing the problem, where the problem is, and then working on a solution. Okay, one has to not forget, don't go in that mode of ignorance that, oh, my mind is so poor, my mind is this, okay, the mind is like that. Accept it. I was telling one of my friends today this, accept it. Don't bargain. We bargain. Okay, if I was not like this, if my life was not like this, if somebody was not like this, if my karma was not like this, if my mind was not like this, if my soul was not like, no, don't stop bargaining, because Krishna consciousness is telling us how to save our energy, because we do have a very limited time. It may look like that there is a lot of time, but actually the time is eternal, right? It's an eternal factor, because in Krishna consciousness in Goloka Vrindavan, there is no past, present, or future. Krishna is just there. We are just there. But right now, we are bounded by this time factor of past, present, and future. So I am supposed to be unlimited. Now I'm supposed to have unlimited time with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No past, no present, no future. But I'm bound. So actually, is the time that I have constrained by right now is not a lot of time. It appears in different modes interplay, mode of ignorance, mode of passion. Person in the mode of ignorance thinks there's a lot of time. So procrastinate, 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 procrastinate. Okay, so person in the mode of passion is always flying around. I have to do this, always time bound, always deadlines. Person in the mode of goodness knows that, okay, I have to put first thing first. I cannot do everything. I have to do first thing first. So depending on what mode one is affected by, because we are an earthly planet, and on Earth, which mode is most prominent? We are in the middle planetary system out of the 17 planets in Bhuman.
Passion.
Passion. Yes. So most of us are in a mode of passion. So we are always like trying to run at the last hour. Have you seen this? Like, okay, if somebody has to, let's say, submit an application, I don't know if you have this experience, and the deadline is 2 months away. When do you think most of the people are going to submit their application? At the beginning, when the application comes out, middle, in between 2 months deadline, or towards the last week? When is it going to happen?
It was the last week, Mataji.
Most of the
Be on
time
the
it
last
is.
Students submit at the starting.
Yes,
It's always
it
on-
just,
it's always-
what Prem Prakash Adas Prabhu?
It's always on the last day.
Yes, thank you. So last day, yeah. So why? You know why? Because try to introspect, because we are in a place where mode of passion is very prominent. And then plus our lifestyle is such that there's more of ignorance. So the interplay of passion and ignorance makes us do the work. Person in ignorance won't do the work at all, but it makes us do the work, but it stretches to the last hour. And I am no exception in so many ways. But the thing is that Prabhupada is saying that one needs to actually sit with themselves and figure out that I am in a lot of trouble. Okay, there may be some facilities given in the human form of life. I have access to the Shastras. I have a spiritual master. I have association of devotees. I have this. But why am I not progressing? Huh? Why is it taking so long? So all these things are interplay, and that's what is discussed in this verse from what I'm understanding. Because the mind is the reservoir of all kinds of desires. This is the problem. The problem is not in the system of Krishna consciousness. The problem is not in the rules and regulations been given. It's all bona fide. Anybody who has followed it perfectly has actually attained the highest perfection of life. The problem is in my mind. So what do? We recognize the problem, then understand that the depth of the problem, how big of a problem is it. Prabhupada has given so many examples in the purport. If I remain attached to my present material condition, I feel like, okay, I'm fine. I don't really have to, press so hard for Krishna consciousness. Okay, I'll do some rounds. Okay, I'll follow the rules and regulations, but that's about it. That's about it. So what we are doing is that, what are we doing then? What are we doing? If the enthusiasm is only reached this meter, let's say 40%, what are we doing? How fast are we going to progress? How fast?
It
The
will be
progress
slow,
will be very
Mataji.
slow, Mataji, because we are
Because
attached to material things
things.
as well as we are just thinking about being Krishna conscious. Just a little efforts towards that, but basically we are attached to material things then.
So yes, thank you. So Prabhupada is saying if for somebody, thank you, Mataji, if one is attached to one's material body, one has to leave the body. But there's so much attachment, throughout my life, I have cultivated only one thing, and that's like, I am very attached to my people, my relatives, my children, my country. I'm very attached to my house. Look how much effort I've put in, very attached to my designation in the society, and I'm feeding it. I'm just feeding it in the mind. Like Prabhupada is giving example of political leaders in this way, that they're very, very attached and they think that if they go, then the country will fall apart. So then what happens? Yes, you still have to leave the body because the body belongs to Krishna. But it will be very, very hard. We're making it hard for ourselves. How? Still have to go, but one has to, go unconscious, like coma, Prabhupada is explaining here. Either they have to be shot or they have to be obliged to leave the body on arrival of death, or they have to remain in coma for many days before giving up the body, because the mind is keeping keeping the body, the soul inside, and it has to go, but the life air is not leaving. So before we end up, I think this is a very embarrassing situation, honestly. Not able to embrace the life and death situation given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, trying to still revolt it. Naturally, I'm not saying that, okay, we kill somebody or somebody kills us, but naturally, if the time has come and I'm still not, raising my hands high in the air and saying, Krishna, onto you, I'm not, it's a very embarrassing situation. And Krishna consciousness is the only process. There's no other process. It's very clear that can save each one of us from being embarrassed in such a manner. Like a very embarrassing that actually the whole life I did not even understand that I'm not the body. Or even though I might be chanting Hare Krishna, you see, even though I might be chanting, even though I might be associating with devotees. Yeah, the other day in my one of my other classes, one Mataji was, she had gone, they had some death in the family, and she had gone for some service, I think, few months after down the lane. And she was she was wearing a nice sari. So I said, okay, you look nice. She said, yeah, but I had gone for this particular purpose. So I've just come home. I said, okay. But then she said something which actually, like, I was thinking later. She said, even though we had gone for this particular puja for after few months down the lane, after this person had left the body in our family, the ladies of the family were still appreciating my sari and how nicely I'm dressed up. And we should do that. So you see, even though, we have seen the destination of the body of one of our dear ones to become an ash, still there is this glare that, okay, I have to, dress up like this still. Or some people have a bucket list. There's okay, before I actually die, I should have like $100,000 worth of a custom-made car. I'm not trying to find fault. Please, I'm not coming from that point in my heart at all. But I'm just sharing the observation and giving examples from the real life that I have experienced. And maybe I need to introspect where is my attachment in how true these statements of the Shastras are. Or I should have this $13,000, $14,000 watch, and I should have like a $700 worth of a pen. But what value are you giving to your soul? What value? What value are you giving to your own self? Okay, these are very priceless possessions to have, or this is like some bucket list to complete. But is there a comparison? Is there a comparison between me as soul, as part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and these things where I'm going to put my energy, my money, probably a lot of effort to accumulate so I can check off my bucket list? Is there a comparison? I would like to know
certainly
from
not.
No,
Not possible.
why not? Why not? Hmm? Who would
All
like to
this
say?
material bucket
materialism,
list is very temporary, because this body is temporary, and we are our life. Actually, our life is eternal, but this body we are getting is very temporary. When we leave the body, everything else is it just remains here. So we should
So
not be
that's a
attached to the
philosophy
temporary
part.
thing.
Okay, that's a philosophy part. But what's the that's you're not wrong, Mataji. But where is the application part of it? Like, what are you gonna? How are you gonna approach this? Prem Prakash Haridas Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
The comparisons are only possible between the similar things. When we cannot compare a priceless soul with a prized material things. So there is no possibility of comparing between apple and oranges.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Mataji,
Vijay Kumar. Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, we doesn't know about our previous life. What is karma we have done? We doesn't know.
Okay.
And then what we do? The Atma is come with previous life also. But we know only this life, present life.
Mataji, you're asking me a question. If I may ask for clarification, or are you making a statement? I'm not clear. Then Dr. Saxena.
Hare Krishna Mataji. As Prabhu just now said, comparison is made between a constant and variables. And the constant here is the soul is eternal, and the body is temporary and perishable. So two things which were just now discussed cannot be compared as exactly, because they don't have similar characteristics. They are totally different and far apart from each other.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, the cannot be compared literally. Yes, cannot be compared, but there is one thing which is common in both the situation. And the thing is that person who is trying to gather all these things from the world, and the person who is trying to advance in Krishna consciousness, both are looking to be happy. Because there is
Yes,
an overlap in the sense that both are looking to be happy.
Yes,
now, Bahir Krishna Bhuliya Jeev Bhog Vancha Kare, right? This is the prayer. Japate Maya Tare, Japate Maya Tare, Japate Dhare, something like that.
Nikatastha Maya Tare Japatiya Dhare.
What is the line?
Nikatastha Maya Tare Japatiya
Nikatastha
Dhare.
Maya Tare, Japatiya Dhare, yes. So Krishna Bhuliya Jeev Bhog Vancha Kare. So because of my forgetfulness of my relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am trying to satisfy my senses, my sense which are material. And because I'm trying to satisfy my senses which are material, I am captured by a witch called Maya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Prabhupada explains like this. So what is the solution? There's no need to criticize this person. I would never criticize this person. I have learned that people don't learn if you criticize them or find fault in them. People learn if you hear them and if you try to add value in their life. They try to nurture everybody. That's what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada never said to the hippies that we can keep a record of that you're all. He never approached them in the first place saying that this is all wrong. This is all nonsense. Just chant Hare Krishna. He just said, okay, add Hare Krishna in your life. Right? So don't criticize, but try to understand that you're looking for happiness. Okay, you can try. Krishna also waits. Isn't it Krishna waiting for all of us for so many lifetimes? Isn't he waiting? Look at his patience. Yes or no? Isn't he waiting for me? So
Yes, Mataji.
many lifetimes.
To take care of his children.
So many lifetimes. He's waiting, 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 still waiting, and being very, very patient. So actually the example of tolerance and the heightened example of tolerance, patience, affection is in the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He's doing it for each one of us. So try not to just become like a parrot devotee. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to find a any kind of devotee is dear to Krishna, it doesn't matter what kind of devotee, but try to become real in your practice of Krishna consciousness, that this is real. Okay, there are these things which are very expensive, very nice, and there are people who want those things. That is why those sense objects are there. It's based on desire, right? Their senses, and then their sense objects, and then in between the senses and sense object is desire. So if I have a desire, there is this object. So the senses are running towards the objects are running towards the senses. So what do? Change the desire. Change the desire. And we'll only change the desire if we have another higher desire. We cannot be desireless. That's what Prabhupada is writing in the last verse, that to know Krishna, to be able to know Krishna, one must do devotional service. And the devotional service is the only way. So actually, sadhya and sadhan, the way and the goal, the process and the goal is one and the same thing, because there is Krishna at both places. The process is Krishna consciousness. The goal is to serve Krishna and go back to Krishna. So it is a very simple process. Krishna conscious life is simple life. If I am becoming more and more complex in my thought process in my head, or my life is becoming more and more complex, there are so many unanswered questions which are coming up, so many undone things, can't sleep in the night, so many distractions, then go back to the process. Simple. Go back to the process. Go back to the chanting with a lot of prayer in the heart that I am again distracted. This time, I don't want to make you wait, Krishna. You have waited enough. And I'm sorry that you waited so much. Now let me come to you. Give me the way, send me the process, and give me the determination to do the needful. Then one's mind will become conducive. Then there may still be distractions, because there are distractions and anarthas till what stage of bhakti there are anarthas? There are 9 stages of bhakti, right? So till what stage of bhakti can one harbor the anarthas?
Anartha nivritti. Nishtha.
No, nishtha, no anartha nivritti. What else?
Ruchi.
Bhava.
Ruchi. What else?
Nishtha, Ruchi, Astha, Mataji.
Asakti.
Astha Mataji.
So one can have the anarthas or the misgivings of the heart, which can pull one back to Krishna, to the material world, up to the stage of bhava, which is just before prem bhakti. Up to the stage of bhava bhakti, one can have the anarthas. That is why when we chant the prayer for Srimad Bhagavatam before we recite, what do we say? What is the prayer again? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki.
Vancha kalpatarubhya.
Namo
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
Narottamam.
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी.
So Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki, the translation is that all the misgivings in the heart are almost destroyed. Thank you, Antaji. This is almost destroyed. So we had a discussion one time with Jayadvaita Swami in Gita Nagari. Why is it almost destroyed? Why not like completely destroyed? And when one becomes Krishna conscious and one is trying to become elevated in Krishna consciousness, all the misgivings of the heart are almost destroyed. So why almost? Why not completely? Then he explained that it is very difficult to get rid of the entire contamination. and one can carry these contaminations up to the stage of bhava bhakti. So don't take the contamination of the mind so lightly, you see. Don't take it so light that the mind has become less powerful to keep me in material world because I'm chanting Hare Krishna. No. When one becomes Krishna conscious, one becomes more watchful of their mind's activity. Able to watch. The yogi watches the mind. Where is it going now? It's jumping like a monkey. Now this, now that, now this. No, I'm not going to do it. You can go. You know, last month, Damodar month, Krishna Kshetra Maharaj was there in Gitanagari, and he was explaining that when he was going to take the sannyas, he went out to take blessings from his older god brothers, and one of the god brothers that he went to was Jayapataka Maharaj, and Jayapataka Maharaj told him, yes, this is time for you to take sannyas, this is nice, but don't forget that every day you have to review your vows. Every day. So say it took me some time to understand that instruction, and then I understood that, okay, even though I can take up the sannyas order of life, the distractions will still exist. The only difference is every day I have to renew my vows of initiation. Every day I have to start afresh. Every day I have to surrender again. Every day. Can we live like that? Can we live like that? Can we become more vulnerable in front of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You see, prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a judgment-free personal zone. There is no judgment there. It's a very personal zone with Krishna, and it's judgment-free. So be authentic. Go with your whatever desire is there and present it to Krishna. I have this material desire, I have this devotional desire, I have this now, and I'm struggling. Can you help me? So Krishna says, Krishna wants this. Okay, so understand that we are manufacturing our own gross body based on the churning of the desires going on in the mind. And understand that this is very powerful because that's where the work is usually done in the subtle body. And understand that people around us, like Prabhupada is giving example of political leaders who actually think of themselves to be so important in their position in the material world that they don't want to give up the material body. But we have to give up the material body. So if I can be free from the embarrassment, because it's like if somebody is living in a rented apartment, and they're not paying the rent, and they're getting request after request from the landlord or from the management that pay your rent, otherwise you'll be evicted, pay your rent, otherwise you'll be evicted, but we just don't pay the rent. Then what happens? We get evicted, but we don't want to get evicted. How embarrassing situation it is, right? People come with the notice, and then they have to be like snatched out, kicked out of the house. So this body is a rent, it's a rented apartment. Same thing. I am living on rent, which is given to me by Krishna. If I can use this body in cultivating that which I really am, then I'm paying the rent properly. Then I don't have to face an embarrassing situation when I'm laying in my deathbed. Otherwise, again, an embarrassment. I'm really scared of being embarrassed like that, when I'm gonna die. Every day I pray, I don't want this. I don't want to leave my body this way. I don't want to be embarrassed. So if you don't want to be embarrassed, then you have to work on it to earn that respect at the end moment of going back to Krishna. Krishna also needs to feel proud of us that, okay, now, come on, time is up. Come on, let's go back home. Questions, reflections, realizations, corrections? Stop there.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes,
Mataji, will you please explain this judgment? You said prayer time is the judgment-free personal zone.
Yeah, with Krishna. It's not like, okay, if let's say that if I go in front of someone and I have a weakness, let's say, give me an example. If somebody has a weakness, whatever weakness, okay, somebody is like initiated, but they're still drinking tea, a weakness. but they've initiated. So there's some hesitation in the heart, right, to go and reveal this to someone else, because they may feel like, okay, I will be judged that I am such a bad person. I am not following the vows. Why did I even take initiation? All these things will cross the head, yeah.
Yes.
But in front of Krishna, it nothing like that exists. Krishna, you can be like, okay, Krishna, I took the initiation, but I did this. That's judgment-free zone. It's personal. Do you understand?
Yes.
Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Prem Prakash Haridas Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Prabhupada begins very nicely with the bodily concept. That's his first stage where we all are, or where we understand that the body is everything, and he goes to the extent of telling that politicians have to be either shot dead or death has to come to them. He then jumps into digging into the mind and role of mind. The role of mind is very important because that actually decides the body's features. Because mind is the reservoir of desires. Of course, the Daiva is added into it. And the third step, Prabhupada very nicely goes into choosing of the association as per the desire. And he vividly gives an example saying that whatever one remembers at the time of death, that he becomes in the next material body. So again, he's telling the importance of association. If you have a good association, then you remember the right people. And then he goes on telling about the association actually deciding the fate. If you have an association of people with goodness, you become, you go to the upper planet, and go to the hellish if you are with the ignorant. And lastly, he very nicely negotiates back into, so association, the mind is important, the association is important, and so he created a Krishna consciousness where you get lots of association, easier way to go back to Godhead. So Prabhupada created such a nice movement for all of us, ultimately, and the easiest movement to get completely liberated from birth and death. Mataji, I felt that Prabhupada has very cleverly and very nicely negotiated through these 5 steps in this purport very well.
Very nice.
Prabhupada ki
Thank
jai.
you. Thank you for such nice summary. Thank you. I really appreciate. Thank you.